Reports broke last week showing a potential plan forward for Meta and their VR lineup, with the Quest 4 launching in 2026. And although we're used to different iterations of the Quest, typically being whether it's a 64GB, 128, or a 512, this is talking about not only the plans of having a Quest 4, potentially Lite, and a more mid-tier model, along with a Quest Pro 2 following up in 2027. That, of course, being a much more high-end device, something to compete with the likes of the Apple Vision Pro. We talked about this briefly, but of course, as the news had just dropped that day, tons more news outlets are now talking about it. The buzz is really going up, and if all these signs are true, that would put it basically 2 years after the Quest 3S or the Quest 3 Lite would be launching this fall. The Quest 4 having a standard or premium version codenamed Pismo Low, Pismo High, with that low and high following the same model that we will see now for the first time if this 3S is really basically just a 3 Lite and then a 3 standard or 3 high, whatever nickname the 3 is going to end up with. These reports were looking a lot more to the future and didn't mention the 3S or the 3 Lite that we've been talking about for a while now. The headset that looks like it's basically Quest 3 internals with more of a Quest 2 style shell, giving you the same processing power and the mixed reality capabilities of the Quest 3, but with less refined optics, and just dropping something more affordable for all of the Quest 2 people who want to step up without paying as much as the Quest 3 costs. Although we're preparing here in the VR industry for this to just cause a lot of confusion, because if you see a 3 and a 3S together on a shelf, you might assume the S could be the better model, except for the fact that we're hoping this will be only a $300 headset versus the Quest 3 that's been a $500 headset. Although we recently saw the Quest 3 going on sale for even under $400 if you got it through Costco, or about $430 through main outlets. Different news outlets calling into question the fact that Meta is moving ahead with this even after they had just talked about all the layoffs that they had to do and how the teams are reportedly cutting spending by 20% even as they're continuing to push forward into this industry. But the funny thing with the public's reaction, people asking now, oh, if I have a 2, should I wait for a 4? But people had even been asking this question long before these rumors, saying that should they skip the 3 and wait for the 4 in general. An important detail to also remember in all of this, Meta has already announced to us that they are going to be licensing the Horizon operating system that's on the Quests, so other companies can also start to develop Quest-style headsets that use the same operating system. So it seems like for a while now it's been pretty clear in the VR industry, if you ask what headset to get, the best deal, wireless, and the one with the most game support has been the Quest for a while, but we're about to start seeing a fracturing amongst the Quests, where there will be a lot of different headsets, and it might be a case where it really comes down to some questions of what do you prefer. There's supposed to be headsets designed just for fitness if that's your use. There's supposed to be headsets designed just for productivity. So when people are asking in the comments, what headset should I get here in a year or two, there might be a lot of follow-up in that discussion before you figure out what headset's going to be best for you. So at that point, I'm curious, do you think this is good for the VR industry? Do you think we're big enough that we can fracture this much between these different headsets? And will that bring in more competition? Or if they all have to be on Horizon OS, will it feel like the Quest is still the best or cheapest headset, and these other ones will just be specialty niche ones? Let me know in the comments so we can continue the discussion there. If you were one of the people to pre-order BoboVR's new grips for your Quest 3, you were probably disappointed when we found out here on this channel that the grips were not doing a sufficient job of hanging onto the controllers. We had gotten ours just a day or two ahead of a lot of the people who had also pre-ordered, and luckily we were able to alert Bobo immediately to the problem, the risk it posed to the controller and anything in the room around you, and they stopped sale. They recalled all of them. Not only have they now designed a grip that is supposed to negate all of those issues, but we have confirmation that they are sending emails to everybody who did buy them and decided not to refund and to hold out and wait for the new grips. Thanks to Steve B over on YouTube, who actually sent me this over and alerted us to this. BoboVR basically said they're excited to inform us that the new G3 Plus controller grips covers are ready. They're officially releasing tomorrow, July 24th. And for everyone out there who chose to wait for the updated product, they're going to arrange shipping within 2 weeks automatically. They're going to send out tracking information, and they assure again that this addresses the issues with the previous grips that were mentioned in the recall notice. If somehow you did get those Bobo grips and you missed this news, basically the way they were designed, if you were playing Beat Saber intensely and you aren't someone who holds your controllers all the way at the top, when you hold them lower, the controller was able to slip out, especially if you were squeezing on it. Luckily, BoboVR reacted quickly and stopped everything they could, but some of the shipments had already gone out. And as you're seeing here, the grips are keeping the same name, but these are completely replacing the original ones. I personally have not gotten my hands on these new editions yet, but BoboVR assured me that they are on the way. So if you're interested in them, they should be here hopefully at the channel this week, and we'll have a review out to you pretty quickly. We'll take them through their paces and hard testing and make sure, but even looking at the design, it looks like they're going to stay in a lot better because there's a lot more silicone that holds on around the top, even as far as where the tracking lights are, but leaves holes for those tracking lights. I know this news was disappointing to a lot of you, especially as you bought the case and there was a perfect slot for the old grips, but it looks like by the design, these are going to be the same fit to where they'll fit in the case too. But obviously, once we get this, we'll give you the full full report back and a full review, so watch for that hopefully by the end of this week or next week, depending on when the grips actually arrive. News, we actually had a giveaway just end. We were giving away 5 copies of I Am Cat from the news a few weeks ago. There's still a brand new Quest 3 international giveaway going on, a Quest 2 and one with Bobo VR with some of their accessories. So if you haven't entered in all those, there's going to be links for those down below, but the I Am Cat one is officially over already, and we got to draw winners right now for that. All right, 5 winners out of 391 people. It's like a 1 in 80 chance of winning, and boom. Oh man, I apologize if I mess up any of these names. Mike Hong, Alan Dyke, Maria Natalia Solar, Timberly Price, and Van X. Congratulations. We got winners from all over the world, from Chile to the UK to the US. Congratulations. What I'll do is I will email each of you directly through the emails that you used. Since I'm gifting these out of my own store credit on Meta, I'm just basically going to have to friend you on the Meta app, gift you the game from there, and then you can just accept it. Or if you entered but I Am Cat is like $15, if it's not really the game you really want and there's another game on the Quest store, we can talk about that in email. So congrats to the winners out there, and there's other giveaways going on in the comments description down below. If you haven't entered, go check those out. Although we're waiting on the Quest 3S or Quest 3 Lite to be announced at Meta Connect this year, the other big news that we've been talking about is that Meta is claiming they're going to have their AR glasses prototype, which they say is the biggest look into the future, and it's going to be available for people to test there. But it turns out that these Meta HUD glasses may not actually be Ray-Ban branded glasses as we've seen with their smart glasses so far. Reports are saying that Luxottica, the designer of that, balked at the thickness that they would need to have. Although luckily Ray-Bans are pretty chonky glasses as it is, if you go and you get a set of the newer Ray-Ban smart glasses, it feels like they're thick, but it doesn't feel like they're strangely thick for sunglasses, where a lot of the prototypes and designs we've seen for smart glasses, especially full AR glasses, do look obviously bigger. And Meta's next glasses that we've been talking about, codenamed Hypernova, are supposed to bring an actual HUD display or augmented reality to the actual lenses themselves. As we saw with Google Glass, a big issue for people with them was just the way they looked. Although the glasses themselves looked okay, the part that stuck out seemed very nerdy to people. They didn't like that design on it. And with all of this going on, Google now reportedly may want to steal the Ray-Ban design from Meta, the Ray-Ban name, possibly for their own iteration of AR glasses. News coming out from The Verge's Alex Heath, citing basically several people familiar with the matter, said that Google had approached Luxottica about putting its Gemini AI into their future smart glasses. Essilor Luxottica is a name, although if you haven't heard it, it's basically most of the glasses around the world. The recognizable names all run through them: Ray-Bans, Oakleys. But so far we've seen that Meta AI has gone into these Ray-Ban smart glasses, deepening the partnership between Meta and Luxottica. And it wouldn't be hard for them to decide that they'd want to go a different way and look at Google Gemini, or obviously ChatGPT would be a big choice, as that seems to be the most recognizable name across the world right now in AI. The reports unfortunately are only on talk so far, and it may or may not go anywhere as to what's happening with this, but we know that Ray-Ban has been the brand name of the Meta smart glasses so far, and it would be a surprise to see them move away from that and Meta having to possibly brand their own glasses, especially with some sort of AR built in. But we'll keep you updated on all this as it happens. We have no confirmation whether we're going to go to Connect or not this year, but hopefully if we are, we'll be able to also share that prototype and what it's like to you after that. Meta really wants you to like the name Horizon, just like they wanted you to like the name Meta when people were upset that it switched from Facebook. Now it looks like even the Quest phone app is going to be rebranded Meta Horizon with this new redesign. You know, I've personally been disappointed over the years. I felt like Oculus was a great name, and as they've moved away from that more and more, Quest, Meta, Horizon, we only see little homages to Oculus here and there with the symbol still showing up. But now it looks like more officially Horizon's going to be taken over next month as the Horizon store. The Quest OS is Horizon OS, and even as Upload VR points out, this could be tricky for people who buy a Quest and then think, okay, I need to find the Quest app, having to try and search for the Horizon app instead. For me personally, when I hear Horizon, I think of just Horizon Worlds, Meta's version basically of VR Chatter Rec Room, and I still associate it that way, as a lot of consumers do, if they even know what Horizon is at all. This is in preparation for that opening up of the ecosystem we talked about earlier, with people like Asus, Lenovo, and Razer all entering so that they can have headsets that they design on the Horizon OS and not necessarily use that same name Quest, which would then split off to just being those Quest headsets. Rebrands like this always seem kind of unnecessary to me. Obviously they have teams of people thinking behind this in the future and all that, but what do you think? Do you like the word horizon? Was it already associated with something with you? Or does it not really matter as long as you have your headset and it plays games? Is that all you care about? Although Connect in our future is uncertain so far, it does look like Gamescom is confirmed. We are going to be going out to Germany next month, seeing one of the biggest gaming cons in the world, maybe getting to preview some of the upcoming stuff ahead of time and share back with you our thoughts. I'm super excited about that, but I'd love to know if any of you out there, are you going to Gamescom? It's a big event, huge in Germany, but people fly there from all over the world. It'd be fun to get to see some of you out there. There's even one friend of mine I made literally years ago playing Farpoint in Denmark who actually is going to be there. I'm going to get to meet them. So if there's any of you out there, also let me know. I sometimes miss the comments, so I might miss that, but if you join the Discord, make sure and at me, let me know, hey, I'm going to be at Gamescom. We can try and meet up somewhere while I'm there. It's really exciting. It's the first international trip the channel's ever taken. It's the first time I'll have ever been to Europe, period. So I'm really excited, but it's thanks to all of you out there. So thank you once again. Speaking of all of you out there, we've been talking about this a little bit over the coming weeks, but we are at the point where we are ready to start holding more local events here in the Portland, Oregon area. We have a smaller separate Discord just for that, and by the end of this month, we're going to be sending out some Google Forms for those of you who are interested in meeting up. That'll get some more details about when the events might be, what we could be doing, and how you can get involved. So if you're in the area or willing to drive to the area, most likely event would probably be on a weekend. We'd bring in just a few people at a time. We'd be filming, playing games, and having fun, but there will be a link down in the description down below and in the comments directly to that Discord. If you haven't joined already and you're in the area, you want to be involved, be in videos, just come hang out, make sure you join that. As the life of the Quest has progressed on and on, it's sometimes hard to even remember as we look back when the Quests first launched, hand tracking wasn't even a thought. A link cable that you could connect to your PC wasn't a thought either, even to the point where I mentioned the idea on Reddit one time as like, what if they did this with the Quest line, and was just immediately wrecked with everybody else. Oh, they would never do that, and that's why the Rift S exists. But as the years have gone on, I still ask myself when I mess around with hand tracking, is it there? Is it finally worth your time? Is it work well enough in games? I remember showing hand tracking to someone who came from a Valve Index even years ago when I hadn't tried one, and he loved it because it was so much more intricate. It could show his hands so much better, and we have seen a lot of improvements to the hand tracking since then. An interesting experiment, and I'll leave a full write-up in case you're interested, on Mixed News. They put someone in who had no prior experience with VR or hand tracking to see how they felt about it overall. There was interesting points about how the person who had tried it was pretty familiar from mobile devices with like touching, scrolling, swiping, and looking through, but someone who's used to a touchscreen being pretty responsive, sometimes they found touching a screen inside the headset wasn't as responsive. They had to tap several times to get to do what they wanted. When asked after an hour what they thought of it, they said, quote, "It was okay. I didn't think it was very easy. I thought it could be easier, but once I saw how it worked a couple of times, it wasn't hard to remember the simple gestures," end quote. But then when she actually jumped into a game and tried it, she said that she found that experience frustrating. Hands didn't do what they wanted them to, and the person watching them said it did look like hand tracking was still more of a hindrance than an aid for them enjoying the game. As we got to try an Apple Vision Pro, I will say this is something that even in the Apple Vision Pro doesn't feel perfect yet either. It still feels like, although you can put as many cameras as you want to on a headset, ultimately it seems like you need to have something on your wrists that always see what your hands are doing, which would kind of defeat the purpose where controllers can work just as well. But I've been telling you how I gave my barber a VR headset for their kid, although they've actually been playing around and playing Waltz of the Wizard, and they said they had tried it both ways with and without controllers and liked it both ways. A lot of great news and a lot to thank you for. Even though we've done it a million times, I just can't say thank you enough. Exciting things coming up next month between what we've already shared with you, some of the future plans, but most importantly, I appreciate that you all show up here all the time. We've been uploading daily for a really long time now, and a lot of you tell me in the comments you appreciate that too. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in another reality.